Welcome to the Dating with Katy podcast, where today we're talking all things dating and dogs. Yes, that's right. DOGS, dating with a dog, dating someone with a dog, dating without a dog, deciding to date and have a dog. Now, look, I'm from the LBC, a little Snoop Dogg in me, bow wow wow, yippee yo, yippee yay. But dating with a dog is a super serious it's a serious question. Like, do I want to date somebody with a dog? I mean, are they almost equal to people, to children? Yeah. So let's get into that. We're going to dive in. I mean, I have to say today's episode, I'm a little concerned. I feel like it's going to get more listens than my episodes that have to do with character and values, which is kind of sad. So let's see how this one rolls out. I'm hoping that you guys are really growing in the strengths of like dating for character and not personality, and listening to those podcasts that are building up your standards list. But this is going to be part of your preferences list. So again, you can meet someone who's fabulous and they have a dog and you'd still date them. You can meet somebody who is terrible and has a dog, and it's not the dog's fault, so let's not blame the dog. But my past two podcasts were on romance and flirting, and I thought this one would be a good breather break from kind of those heavy, serious dating topics, because both of those need to be happening on both sides of the coin, right? Guys and women. Women need to flirt more, and men need to be more romantic. Go listen to those podcasts accordingly. All right. Well, I did have a dog. I just want to start with this. I want a disclaimer. I had a dog. I have to tell you my dog story. So my daughter really wanted, and she's 20 now, but probably when she was 10, divorced, living in a 2-bedroom apartment in Belmont Shores, cute little beach city. My kids all shared a room, and I'll tell you what, parenting out there, it's okay. If you're a parent whose kids are sharing a room, this is what the great thing is. They will become tighter friends. So we were in this cute little community, and my daughter wanted a dog, but I said, you have to take care of a guinea pig first. Whew. Well, if any of you have ever had a guinea pig, they're noisy. They wake up. They make their noise. They're hungry all the time. They want fresh food. I mean, this guinea pig was a lot of work, and my daughter actually did a phenomenal job of taking care of it. Loved it. We had little bags for it. We dressed it up. We put it outside sometimes in a little yard area that we fenced in for it. We carried it around. We'd put it in the front of our car so it could get some sunshine. She took good care of the cage. She'd clean it weekly. So I was impressed. So I let her have a dog. So we go to the pound. Yes, I'm old school. I don't pay thousands for a dog. I have a girlfriend with a dog named Cash, not because of Johnny Cash, but because the dog was so expensive, she called it Cash. Well, I hope she has pet insurance for that dog. Point of that story is we go to the pound. I am in a state of I'm a single mom. I really don't want a dog, but I want my kids to have a dog. I get that part. I don't personally want to take care of a dog when I don't have my kids. Okay? I was smart. So I had a 2-2-5 schedule. I wanted this dog to be shared between my ex and I. I wanted the dog to travel back and forth, and I know my ex wasn't real excited about it. So I was mindful when I got to the pound of what kind of dog I wanted. And I also needed something small. I didn't want to spend a lot of money on a dog. I didn't have a lot of money. Guys, you got to be really wise when choosing an animal. You're choosing an animal. This isn't like a child that comes out and you get what you get. This is a choice. So we were at the pound, and my two boys are looking at these big, cute, fluffy dogs that are bouncing and jumping and barking. And I'm like, no way, Jose. We are not getting that dog. And there is this little dog in a corner, little Chihuahua. Perfect, right? So I told my family, I said, that's the dog we're getting. I figured out the age was appropriate enough where it would live as long as my children were in the house, and that would probably pass away. Now, I know that sounds really mean, but let's be honest. I didn't want to have a dog because I wanted to have a man. Okay, do you see that? Ladies, are you hearing that? Guys, are you hearing that? You got to decide, what do you really want? So I chose a dog appropriately that would kind of age out with my children. So all that to say, I did have Skipper. He was a great dog, very small Chihuahua, didn't bark. So, that was a win, except for at guys he didn't like. So I'll tell you a story about that in a minute. So he was a great dog for the season. It was hard. There were times I have to get a dog sitter. We'll talk about all that as we go into this. Well, I wanted to let you know, if you are a dog lover, I love that you love dogs. I love that you want to take care of something. That is a win. That is a pro with someone who has a dog. And I want the dog lovers to know out there is a dating website for you. It is called love4dogs.com, and that's LOVE4dogs.com. No promo here. I just thought you should know. There really is a dating website for everybody these days. Now, I do think the pro of somebody who has a dog is what I just said, that they know how to take care of something. It's a valuable lesson. You watch how they take care of it, how they treat it, how they speak to it. And I mean, there are some people who love their dogs, right? So you see that sweet side of a person. I'll be honest, when my husband sees a dog, he would love a dog. I still say no, there's no way we're getting a dog. We just got a new white couch. But I see the sweet side of my husband come out, right? And I've never seen my husband around little babies or little kids, so I haven't seen that sweet side. But it is cute when he pulls out kind of that cute fall in love with the dog gesture. But there are many more cons to having a dog, and I'm going to give you a list of about 8 things of dog issues. But I want to talk about pros and cons right now. So the con, and we all know this, is that you have to go home, you got to get a sitter, the barking and the chaos, the dog has an opinion, you know they do, and 77% of you actually weigh in your dog's opinion of people. And so, the dog interrupts intimate moments. What if you break up? You got to split the dog. So let's talk all about this dog stuff. And I forgot to tell you to subscribe. Get on it, man. I need to move up. We need the 20%ers to rise. And so the way we do that is by subscribing, just, watching this when you can, putting a little comment in, sending this to a friend, because someone out there has a dog and is dating. Maybe it's an ex-boyfriend or girlfriend. All right. Well, here's the rules with animals. We're going to take a minute, time out, and talk about cats. Now, cats, that's just a no-go. I don't know any man who is excited about a cat lady. And any guy who has cats, I know a few buddies, they were kind of artsy. They worked in the food business. They had cats. I found that interesting. I mean, one was really into his cat. He was super cute, but really into his cat. We find that weird. And weird is a turnoff. So I don't recommend cats. Why? They have more dander. They are, people have more allergies to cats. They're indoors. I have to say, there's a family member that has 2 cats. It's just gross. It's you walk into the house, you got to run in, you got to run out. These cats are going to beat you to the door. It's uncomfortable. At some point, someone's getting allergies. Skip on the cats. Okay? Let's move on to other animals. Ferrets, goats, and horses. I'm going to tell you a story. I was just meeting with America's Hottest Bachelor, and I mentioned this on my IG, and I didn't quite deliver the exact storyline. So let me deliver it here. Is that this hot 42-year-old studly, good-looking guy, great head of hair, great value set, comes from the Midwest, wants to get married and have kids, is dating a girl that has kind of a farm in a different state. And, she doesn't want to give up the farm. She has ferrets and she has goats and things like that. It's she's already in her 40s. If you want a family, you might have to give up your farm to get the family. And he said, Katy, I would have bought us, I would have moved from my house, but I couldn't, where he lived, he couldn't buy a farm. It's Arkansas. The price point was totally different. He would get something, but she would have had to release some of the animals. Well, she decides, nope, she wants her animals. She doesn't want him and a family. Correct. She will be single forever, probably forever. But then she goes on to get 50 wild horses that she's going to take care of. And he's like, Katy, was it me? And I said, at this point, just pass. That's a hard pass. So you got to be mindful. Do you want a family or do you want your farm? Okay, girls, think about it. So let's go into some of the details about dogs. All right, we're going dogs here. I'm going to bring in some of my clients. Some of my clients do have dogs. We talk about the dog issue. I've dated men with dogs. I had a dog. So number one, first off, I just want to state this. Dogs are not children. If you have a bumper sticker that says, my dog is as smart as your 5th grader, I'm sorry, you're just not my people. Your dog is not a person. And the reason you love your dog is because your dog doesn't talk back, doesn't have tantrums. Well, guess what? Parenting, that is going to be the real. And I'm proud of all you parents out there who have to deal with children, which gives you more opportunity to work on your peace and your peacefulness and your calmness. Dogs don't do that. I mean, they might mess up and go pee because they're excited, but come on. Never equate your dog with a child if you're on a date. Just please don't. And with that being said, I do sometimes say this, and I know guys, you might not like it, but men are like puppies. Okay? They want to please you. They, sometimes they're just not thinking. So ladies, just be kind to your men. They really aren't that hard to figure out, okay? So that's a win when I use that terminology. Okay, moving on. Number 2, people look like their dogs. Come on now. Now, okay, you're like, well, Katy, you had a Chihuahua. Correct. And I would say that my Chihuahua and I looked a little bit alike. I mean, I wish I could pop up a picture here. I'm going to ask my guy, Dustin, to put a picture of me and my Chihuahua. My Chihuahua was lean and mean like me. My Chihuahua had big ears like me, but I tried to hide them. My Chihuahua was fierce. Not really, but I just trying to say people look like their dogs. It is 100% true. Pick a cute dog. Okay, just pick a cuter dog. Then you realize, ask for some opinions before you get the dog. It really is a matter of life. You know, it's a matter of fact. I mean, I can be walking out at a park and I'm like, that looks like their dog. They look like their dog. So pick a cute dog. All right, I also want to talk about number 3, going on apps with your dogs, like promoting yourself with your dog. It could be a win. It could also be a negative. So you know you've all seen it, the lady with their dog. Sometimes you see a man with the dog. Men usually put babies with their pictures. That's like a little bit more of a win. Or fish. Guys, again, fish picture, one only. One only. And lady, if he's a fisherman, look, if the end of the world comes, he can get you some food. So that's not a bad thing, all right? It means he's manly. That's a win as well. But guys, you should also have a suit picture. That's how that works. So I'm reading through one of my clients' Hinge profiles. I pretend I'm him on Hinge. It's called my Wing Girl program. He gets exhausted swiping and swiping. I get exhausted swiping and swiping, but that's my job. And I have a lot more vetting, X-ray vision than he does. So I'm looking at these women and, these prompts on Hinge. You should not go out with me if ... You do not like dogs. I'd rehome you over them. Got it. Do you know how many men that turns away? I am so curious how this is working for this woman. Okay, here's the next one. The only thing you should know about me is ... Now, the only thing, okay, drum roll, animals. I love my dogs, also horse mad, and a competitive show jumper. Here's what's crazy. Ladies with horse pictures are a no-go. Pick a dog over the horse, because when you got this giant horse next to you, or you put its giant face next to you, I did a whole, not a podcast, but I did a whole thing on this. I asked people how they felt about horse pictures. We have clients who turn down women because they're horse people, because they're show jumpers. It's a different clientele. It's a different woman who's doing that. And when you're 50 and doing that still, I mean, that's cute. But do you want a man or do you want a horse jumping show? Again, you got to decide. So if you're going to go on Instagram or whatnot, or not Instagram, if you're going to go on one of these dating sites, if it's for dogs, great, promote the dog. If it's not for dogs, talk about yourself and have one picture of your dog. There we go. All right, let's move on to number 4. We all know it. It happens. It's a matter of life, unless you have one of those super doodles with no hair, but fur. Fur gets everywhere. And I know people are buying the doodles, very smart choice, but I just recently had 2 wealthy guys, good-looking guys, put-together guys say they went on dates with women who showed up with dog hair all over them. I can't fathom it. In my purse, in my car, I always have a roller. If you had a dog, wouldn't you have a roller? This just doesn't make any sense to me. So do not show up with dog hair. Unfathomable a little bit. And one of them is a new client that I have who worked with another matchmaker who said she did terrible. That was the girl. She came, no makeup on, dog hair all over her. Like, no, that does not happen on my watch. Not happening on my watch. The other one was from a Hinge match, which I don't vet for. I don't know much about them because matchmaking is different than my Wing Girl program. Happy to explain more to you later. All right, so dog hair. Then let's move on. Let's talk about barky dogs, feeding the dog, taking care of the dog. Let's go with barking dogs first. I visited recently a single dad. He's great. Lawyer. I went into his house. I was hanging out with his daughter. It's something I do. And his house, his dogs just were crazy. They were in their pen, but they just went bark, 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 bark. The whole time I was trying to talk to him, the dog kept barking. And he'd yell at the dog to stop, and it'd stop, and then it'd bark again. And I was like, this would not be anything I'd want to step into. If you don't have control of your dogs, then you have not trained them, and I don't want to be a part of this. It is very uncomfortable, and it's also just not a good look on you if your dog does not honor you and doesn't obey you. So make sure that your dogs are quiet, they listen, they obey, I mean, kind of like children, right? If I dated a guy and his kids did not obey, they were disrespectful, it's a little bit of a turnoff. So, and that goes both ways. A woman who has a dog in her house that's just running around and barking and jumping on people. Look, I don't need your dog in my crotch. Get it off. My children don't do that to you. So get your dog in order. So you see, I get a little feisty about dogs. I mean, I've had people put their dogs right up to my little kids' faces when they were 5. I'm like, get your dog's face out of my kid's face because I don't know your dog and I don't want your dog to bite me. So get your dogs in order. When it comes to feeding, yes. How many of you have been on dates where they're like, well, I gotta go. I gotta get back to let my dog out. I gotta feed him. I mean, I dated a guy. He had 2 beautiful dogs, sheep herding dogs, blue eyes, very pretty. It was too much. The dogs, we always had to get back to the dogs. The dogs got to watch the Housewives while we were gone. Okay. I mean, he talked like this when he see the dogs. That part wasn't cute actually. But the dogs kind of ran our schedule and that's just really not fun. So make sure that you have a dog sitter, a dog caretaker. If the date goes long, make sure your dog is trained. It knows how to go potty in the right places. Sounds like I shouldn't have to say this, but I do. All right. And then people pretending that they like your dog. There's another issue. I mean, dogs are sensitive to these things. Dogs are, dog whisperers and dogs know us right away. Dogs like me. So surprisingly, even though I talk like this, I like good dogs and good dogs like me back. Now let's talk about when you have to merge the dogs. Just yesterday, I was outside. It was a beautiful day here in Dallas. And my neighbor had come by in the morning, did the wave out of the car. He's got 2 little dogs. He comes by again with a big dog, like a doodle dog. It's noon. I'm like, what's the deal with the dogs? He's like, oh, one's mine, one's my wife's. We had to merge the dogs and now we have a group of kids. He's got twins and another kid. So merging your dogs isn't going to work. It's a lot like merging kids in a divorce if you're going to move forward with someone in the next marriage. And kind of true. And then let's talk about splitting up with your dogs. I have a girlfriend and she has 2 dogs. She got one and then her boyfriend at the time bought her a different one, both adorable doodles. And then they got married. And literally they already talked about like, if we got divorced, who gets which doodle? I mean, come on. And then I know people who do a split share on their dogs because they divorced and they want to keep sharing the dogs. I had a client, he and his ex-wife had 4 dogs. And then his new girlfriend didn't like the dogs, but he only took 2 of the dogs. And then she's like, I'm done with the dogs. And then he had to get rid of the dogs. I'm telling you. And then he felt guilty putting all 4 dogs on his ex. It's a lot. Dogs are a lot. So this is my suggestion. We're going to boil it down to a couple things. And before I give that suggestion, I want to tell you one thing. Erica, who also runs the company with me over at Cinqe.com Matchmaking, Cinqe.com, get in the database, become a client. You're going to love it. Erica, I called her up because she and I always talk about this. We've literally had women bring dogs on a date. Now, if a matchmaker like me is setting you up with a successful, well-to-do client, he doesn't want your dog with you. Get a sitter. Get a sitter for your dog. I mean, he could offer, but it's really ridiculous. So we've had women either cancel because they couldn't get a dog sitter or they bring the dogs on dates. That is a no-go. Please don't do that. Please do not do that. Erica said, ladies who are single without dogs, number 1, don't bring the dog on a date. And number 2, if you are single and you're thinking of getting a dog, don't. Do not go get a dog. If you're lonely, ladies, go be busy. Go get involved with your church. Go get involved in a nonprofit group. Go get involved in Big Brothers, Big Sisters. I mean, there's so many other ways that you can give back rather than being with the dog. Look, I'm just trying to help your dating game out. I'm not negating your feelings or emotions or loneliness, but you'll have more options and more opportunities to date if you do not have a dog. So my final thing is this. I believe dog people should date dog people. Doesn't always hold true. Just like I actually believe doctors should date doctors. And I also think people in the food industry should date people in the food industry. There's sometimes it's just something to be said about somebody understanding your situation. So with that being said, if you'd like to change your dating situation, you got to go check out my courses. I've got 7 Steps to Sexy, Confidence 101. You're going to love that. Use 10 off, 10 OFF for a quick 10% discount. And then if you want to work with me, just go ahead and click the work with me button right below. I will reach out to you and we will get chatting on how you can get confident, be successful, and have some fun dating, even without a dog. All right, until next week, go get those dates.